The thoughts and opinions of Skylar Sylvie expressed on this show do not necessarily reflect those of the Grimm Times podcast or Jeff Jarman. Thank you and enjoy the show.
Alright, hello and welcome to the Grimm Times podcast. This is episode number 3. I am your host, Jeff Jarman of The Jeff Jarman Show on YouTube. Go ahead and check that out. And my co-host here is Skylar Sylvie.
Whatever.
He is also on The Jeff Jarman Show, and he has several other different projects, some of which are on YouTube. And he also has a band. It is, what is it called again?
Tides of Exodus.
Tides of Exodus, yeah. So
Yeah.
definitely, and you can check out his Facebook for different lyrics and things that he writes. Pretty good stuff, so keep an eye out for that.
Well, the Tides of Exodus thing hasn't been released anything yet, so just throwing that out there in case you're looking around for music and not finding it.
Yeah, well, maybe they can kind of inquire about the band and speed things up a little bit, maybe.
Yeah, or buy me a beer.
Yeah, that too. All right, so for this episode, we're going to cover largely drones and
Giant fucking robots.
yeah, after that, pretty much whatever else comes to mind. So we'll go from there. I'm going to let Skylar, you can go ahead and take the helm on this one and tell us a little bit about the drones.
Okay, so in case you don't know what a drone is, people listening, okay, I could be, really nice, or mean, I should say. I could be really mean and just say, go on Google and type in drone. But in this case, I'm going to be nice and say you're an idiot if you don't know what a drone is yet. Okay? It's all over the fucking news. Okay, now, I'm just saying. And realistically, if you don't know what a drone is, just turn off the YouTube video right now. Well, don't do that. You might make Jeff mad and myself mad, actually, because we won't have. Well, it doesn't matter if you once you push play. I mean, you're already listening, so it reviews now.
Yeah, why stop now?
Yeah. So basically, as I said, before, I'm very inviting. But the point of the matter is, drone is a flying bastard that it's a unmanned thingamajig. But yeah, I'm kidding. It's a drone is a flying. It's like a, how do I put this?
It's like a small spy plane, right?
It's pretty much like a spy plane, and they're not really that small, but they're unmanned and they have missiles. Some of them have cameras and just do pure surveillance. But the fact of the matter is, a lot of them, Obama really loves these things. Just throw this out there. I think it was pretty much out a little bit, like around the Bush era. But the fact of the matter is that he's been using these a lot, and he's been using these in the very much the great form of treason, in many different facets. In one sense, because he is shooting or using the drones to attack American citizens for so-called terrorism, although in foreign countries, specifically targeting them. This is, by the way, admitted. This isn't something where it's considered a conspiracy theory. This is confessed fact. Only one of the 4 were considered an accident in that targeting, which was also an American.
Where could people find out that he actually did say this? Is it like in a video that they can find on YouTube?
It's not he specifically said it. I don't recall him specifically saying it, but the White House did actually acknowledge it.
Okay.
Just not him himself, as far as I recall.
Right.
Even and granted, I mean, if I'm wrong and he actually did come out and admit it, then well, fuck, that's even better. But the point is that the overall point is what he's doing. Now, beyond that whole point, they're using it in multiple American cities, surveilling the American people with it. And that's a violation of the Fourth Amendment, on top of the wiretapping and the Facebook hacking. And it's coincidence, and nobody ever thinks about this. Prior to Facebook be going public, with the stocks and shit, okay, it was a private thing, meaning it was owned by whatever the hell that guy's name is. Okay, so he had all the stocks and all that crap and blah, 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 blah. Now that it's public, the government doesn't really require a need to really go and get a warrant. It's public.
Free information.
So,
Free information.
Yeah, it's free information. So anything, I mean, in the sense they're violating the Constitution nonetheless, because you're being, spied on, and it's a violation of, many things, especially if they arrest you for freedom of speech. On top of it, label you as a terrorist. In which case, if they don't black bag you in your own home without a warrant for your arrest, thanks to the Patriot Act, and anybody, by the way, who's a big Bush fan, just go shoot yourself. Anyway, the point is
the thoughts
that,
and opinions of Skylar Sylvie do not necessarily reflect the thoughts and opinions of the Grimm Times podcast. Go ahead, Skylar.
Yeah, I don't give a shit. Anyway, the point is okay, I'm just saying, okay, listen to this. People complain over this whole drone thing and this whole thing, and they're blaming Obama for it. And I'm not taking up for Obama here because he is utilizing it. The point is, they're blaming him for all of this whenever this is absolute fact, okay? George W. Bush, in the wake of 9/11, created the Patriot Act, which permits the United States government to break into your home without a warrant and search and seize whatever they want, including you. If they so much as think the possibility of you being a terrorist. And also, they can throw you in prison without any due process whatsoever or telling you why you're being arrested for as long as they want to keep you there, and they also they can do whatever they want with it. So the point is frankly, that is a direct violation of so many different things. But most importantly, it's a violation of the Constitution, and it's a violation of, well, just simply morality. So if you want to think terrorism and go, oh my God, the terrorists, and they're going to blow up, my penis, then, whatever. You can think that all you want. But the fact is, there is those terrorists that they claim blew up the Twin Towers and stuff and blah blah blah, are not the terrorists that they're as much focused on as much as you. They're more focusing on calling the American people terrorists than anybody else. So all you hear about is domestic terrorism, terrorism. That's all you hear about. On and 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 on. Okay, so then what happens? Well, in the wake of all of this, your phones get tapped. Every person is treated the same with phone tappings and Facebook tappings and drone surveilling. Okay, so waiting for this shit that isn't fucking happening. Okay, so and it's just this repetitive line of complete and utter total bullshit. Okay, so in any debate to the contrary is pure idiocy, plain and simple. So if you can argue, oh well, I'm not breaking the law, so I'm not worried about my phone being tapped. Well, I don't give a shit if you're breaking the law or not, because the fact of the matter is your phone shouldn't be fucking tapped. Irrelevant as to what the fuck you're doing. In fact, if you called the Washington, D.C. and then, threatened to pee in all their shoes, okay, your phone shouldn't be tapped and they shouldn't arrest you for something you said. You should only receive the consequences of what actions you place. Now granted, you could say threatening could be, whatever. That's a whole separate debatable issue.
Yeah.
In my opinion, though, you can make all the threats you want, and they should punish you for the action, not for threatening. In my opinion, but whatever.
Yeah.
But the fact is then you had Zimmerman. That's the whole area. Not Zimmerman. I'm sorry. Freaking Snowden. And Snowden went through all this. I think we touched on this a bit before. But Snowden went through and told everybody what was going on, and the government admitted to it. All before that, everybody was saying that it was crazy conspiracy theory, and the government wasn't doing that. When the government admits to fucking doing it, then they're like, oh, well, they're protecting us from terrorism. It's like, come on. It's like total insanity. So what Snowden does is they're charging him with treason. Treason is by either aiding the enemy or giving the enemy information in some sort of crisis, or selling them information. Okay? He gave information to the American people. He didn't go and sell off information about the government to the freaking Afghanistan people. He gave the information to the American people. And so if you're the government's basically trying to imply that the United States people are the freaking are the very enemy that he sold that stuff to, and that's the only justifiable reason, the only thing I can come up with for charging him with treason. That's like what they're implying is that we are the enemy of the United States government with saying he's treasonous.
Yeah, it's like they got caught with their hand in the cookie jar, and now they're trying to blame it on the younger sister or whoever. Somebody that can take the focus on them or take the focus off of them and onto somebody else, when really they were the ones who have messed up all along. And in my opinion, I mean, it's definitely not right. I mean, if somebody threatens the president, then yeah, you should probably keep an eye on them. And tapping their phone, that's fine. I mean, if it's a psycho or if it's a nut or if somebody's going to harm other people, yeah, pay attention to them. You should profile. If there's a reason to profile, you should profile.
Yeah, but you sure as hell shouldn't blow up their goddamn house with a drone just because they threatened to shoot someone.
Yeah.
I don't think that's happened yet, but that's what it seems to come to. It's like if everybody read the book 1984. Although it's severely late on its due date. But the funny thing is, everything that I just mentioned is sadly in that book.
Yeah.
And back in the day when we read in school, if I remember correctly, and what the deal was is that they were sitting there talking about freaking that thing, and they were saying it was a science fiction. And, we all, of course, we were like, that didn't happen. It was a science fiction film, of course. And then now it's just like, fuck.
Yeah, it's coming true.
And actually this is even Rand Paul, the son of Ron Paul, even came out and said this very thing, and it tried to bring it to everybody's attention. It's on YouTube. Look it up. He stands there and mentions the whole thing. He said he even cried.
Wow.
I think that's a little extreme, but that's what he said.
I mean, it's insane. It's kind of like all this technology that they have, but they're not releasing it to the public. Like the fax machine was invented, 40 years before they allowed it to reach the public's hands. I mean, they can have this technology for full 40 years, and we would never even know about it.
Yeah, then, I don't know, it's like, here's a funny thought, that this is in itself creepy. I want people to think about this. Let's say you live out in the country, okay, and you don't even realize if there's drones watching. You're doing nothing, you just go outside to go pee. Well, behind that drone is a computer nerd controlling it in some office in a dark room somewhere with a computer screen in his face while he's chugging Red Bull and talking about women and whacking off or something. So while he's sitting there controlling the drone, he zooms in on your penis while you're taking a leak, okay? And just for funnies, and for people in the office, you can zoom it in real big and everybody can look at your penis. Think about that. Just that within itself. That is the capability that can be done. That's nothing really severe, but it's disturbing to the mind.
Yeah.
And who knows? They probably did that. Fuck, I'd do it. It's hilarious. That'd be funny as hell. Just as a prank. I mean, then I'd email it to them. This is what you were doing on this day, at this moment, this hour, this minute.
Yeah, but they'll use drones to fly over and check out people's land, like with the farmers. They would check out their crops, and I mean, I think they found several marijuana farms and things like that using that, and they've actually given the police officers some drones for themselves to use, not personally, but the police department in certain towns or certain cities.
The irony with that, if they all smoked pot, nobody would go to war. So I mean, it's just like you'd have a small minority at the very least. It's like, let's get rid of pot. I don't really care about the topic really, but it's just like that within itself seems like a violation of, well, they do the same thing. They've been doing the same thing with helicopters for years. It is illegal after all, yeah. But if you look at it logically, it's just, I don't know. A drone just seems way overkill just to look for pot.
Yeah, it seems like they could spend the money on better things. That's for sure.
I mean, that it's just, I don't know. I can think of so many useful things they could do with all that money. Okay.
Well, what I would use the drones for is to spy on not only the enemy overseas, but if they really wanted to clean up the cities, they should spy on these gangs, the gang activity, the drug dealers, all this kind of stuff. Keep an eye on them, and if you can get video proof of them doing whatever, take them up, get them off the streets, put them in jail, put them in rehab, whatever it takes, clean up the city.
You know what's really funny? what the other people don't realize, and most of them probably wouldn't care, the government just hasn't been spying on our country. They're spying on other countries. In fact, Germany.
Yeah.
They're wiretapping the German people. What business is it? Okay, here's what I don't get. Number one,
Well,
why does that... What?
Well, for Germany, I think we have decent reason to spy on them. They've tried to take over the world twice now.
Okay, but we see what you don't know, or maybe not realize, is the German people are very embarrassed at their history. Like, if you went and mentioned the word Nazi, if you mentioned the word Nazi in Germany, they would probably kill you or attempt to hurt you.
Well, see, they're just being a Nazi then.
Well, whatever. The overall point is, you understand, nobody willingly, they were manipulated into joining the Nazi Party, and then after a while, they were forced.
Hello? Some of them probably, yeah.
I mean, you're always going to have your thing where, there's going to be a lot of people doing it just out of some thought of patriotism. But, you see, the overall point is, though, is that they're embarrassed of it. But the more important point is, why does the president go to Germany and have speeches?
Yeah, it's just part of that political crap that they have to cycle through.
Well, what the fuck does Germany have to do with the United States? And then he went to Africa for like 2 days and did the same thing. What does that have anything to do with what we're doing here?
Is Germany technically our ally right now?
Yeah, they are.
Okay.
They're flat-on allies. I mean, hell, they have, and this is probably part of the reason, they have, in joke form, they manufacture Mercedes here now.
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean...
They're pretty invested then.
Yeah, and but it's one of these deals where, you got, the other point is, like, actually, whenever the Germans found out because of Snowden about what our government spying on their, country, they rallied up against Obama during his last speech there. And they had signs saying, what was it? It was saying, yes, or what was it? Yes, we scan.
Oh, yeah.
It's a big sign saying, yes, we scan.
Yeah, nice.
And I watched this thing, and they were explaining, that they have they're very sensitive on wiretapping or anything like that. They don't like being monitored because Hitler was doing that to his own people. He was sitting there tapping everybody's phones and stuff there during the Nazi Party.
Yeah, I believe it.
So, I mean, and then the government is spying on itself. But, you seriously...
Well, they have so many different departments. I mean, that's probably not a bad idea.
Yeah, I believe all those departments should be gotten rid of. Most of them. Well, actually, the majority. Like, for example, you get the IRS, Federal Reserve, Department of Education, Department of Agriculture, all those departments just should be completely gone. Look how much money we would save. And the people argue, look at all those jobs that would be lost. Well, it's simple. Bring all the jobs that are outsourced back, and then all those people can get jobs in those places. Ta-da!
Yeah, that's true. Well, we're going to have to go ahead and start wrapping up this podcast here. That was a fast 20 minutes. We're in the final minute now. Skylar, was there anything else you wanted to add real quick?
Yeah, I do. When you're voting for somebody, if they're on the television, like you visibly see them while they're talking, do not vote for them. Problem solved.
Vote for Ron Paul. Or we should have. I think that was the last chance for him. I don't think he's going to run again, is he?
He retired, but they're talking about his son doing it.
Yeah.
There's rumors going around he's going to do that.
All right, so we'll see. All right, well, this is the Grimm Times podcast. Again, I'm your host, Jeff Jarman, along with my co-host, Skylar Sylvie.
Get out of here, people.
All right, and we will catch you next time in episode 4.
Yeah, and good thing we'll no longer have Bush fans on, listening to us anymore.
Most likely not. Okay.